I thought that's the easiest way to record attendance. Okay, so we have Neil Merritt.
Present.
I see you, Neil. Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Oh, I meant to say the affiliation for any guests we have on the line. Neil is representing a nonprofit association representing rural water systems, specifically the Plymouth County Waterworks Association. Elizabeth, oh, and Neil is chair of the group. Elizabeth is vice chair and represents a statewide environmental organization, specifically the Nashua River Watershed Association. And we have Dave Condry on the line.
Hello.
Representing a nonprofit association representing investor-owned water companies, specifically the National Association of Water Companies. Tom Holder. Hi, Tom. I saw you there. There we go. A New England Regional Waterworks Nonprofit Association, specifically New England Waterworks Association. Dave Maciarelli. Hi, Dave. Dave represents also a statewide environmental organization, in this case, the Canoe River Aquifer Advisory Committee. Jim Starbard is on the line. Yep. A non-community public water system, specifically the systems associated with the Rural Community Assistance Partnership, RCAP. Sean Osborne. Okay. Sean represents industry, specifically engineering, an engineering company. Blake Lucas is on the line. Blake represents a Massachusetts statewide waterworks association, specifically Massachusetts Waterworks Association. Rebecca McDermott emailed me late yesterday that she and her assistant are cleaning out 100 and something fire hydrants this morning, so she can't make it for the meeting, but she wanted me to let you know she had been planning to attend. Marcus, Rebecca represents Western Mass Waterworks. Marcus Kemp is DEP's representative. I don't see him on the line. Ariella Lovett, representing Massachusetts Municipal Association. And our non-voting alternates, Jen Peterson, representing Mass Waterworks Association as an alternate. Hi, Jen. And Kirsten King. Hi, Kirsten. A New England regional nonprofit alternate, specifically New England Waterworks. Now, we also invited the Waterworks presidents, and I see Lisa Gove on the line, who is president of New England Waterworks Association, and Chuck Dam, president of Mass Waterworks Association. So do I have everybody? Leave anybody out? All right, thank you for that. And I'll turn it over to Neil, please.
Okay, Kathy, thank you. I guess you took care of issue number one, which is the welcome and roll call. So thank you very much. We'll go on to the next item on our agenda, which is review the draft minutes from the September 18th meeting.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second that motion.
Okay, all in favor of approval of the September 18th meetings, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
Who seconded that meeting? That motion, sorry. Ariella, thank you very much. Okay.
The assessment program update. I assume that will be you, Kathy?
Yes, thanks, Neil.
Okay.
I wanted to let everybody know that the rate letter went out on time for FY22. We sent the letter out electronically to all public water systems for the first time in 26 years. And that went really well. Tio Yano and Nicole and other people were involved in successfully getting out that letter through the program director email account that we have. And we gave water systems the opportunity to request a hard copy that we would mail out to them. And one PWS requested a hard copy out of about 1,730 that were emailed. We also sent out hard copies to the roughly 105 public water systems that we don't have reliable email addresses for. So that seemed to go pretty smoothly. And I think sending them out electronically, if there's no objection to that next year, is probably a good way to go. It saves resources. And, you know, we may still be working remotely next year. The billing for FY21 started this week. So if you get any questions from PWSs about their bills, please forward them to me, and I'm happy to talk to people. Generally, the same kinds of questions come in every year about billing, and they're usually from small new systems or systems like restaurants that may have closed, and they have questions about whether they still owe a bill. I sent out to you the 2019 data from the annual statistical report, which is, it looks pretty similar to past data from the statistical reports. And I also sent you the list of unmetered public water systems that you see every year, and that looks fairly consistent as far as numbers too. Water systems are sometimes unmetered because their meter broke or they're a new system, especially small systems that recently came on board. So that's some of the reasons. I also wanted to note, while I'm speaking, that Ben Joquin, a new staff person who started a few months ago, is starting to send out to TNC systems a quarterly email newsletter. And one went out and we forwarded that to the committee. If you have any messaging or any ideas for articles that you want to send out to TNCs, we're happy to write those articles. So please send me or Ben your ideas for articles for TNCs. We're happy to formulate the articles. The draft that Ben is working on will be finalized next month, January, for distribution in February. And I think that's everything here that I have. Are there any questions about any of those topics? No, all right, okay. I'll turn it back over to Neil. Thanks, Neil.
All right, thanks, Kathy. We now go to drinking water program updates. Yvette, I'm sure you have nothing, right?
I have a few things. Good morning, everybody. I want to say hello to the Section 70 committee members, and I also want to welcome the Waterworks presidents to this meeting. I think this is a good opportunity to ask me any questions. I do have some remarks about what we've been doing and what we hope to do. So I'll just jump right into that. And if there are any questions on the end would be great, or just ask, if you just have questions. I first want to say how grateful I am for the way our water suppliers really stepped up during these COVID times. You have been amazing in responding to us, using our remote tools, getting remote technical assistance, raising questions that force us to think about all of the different areas that we need to shore up. So thank you for that. It certainly made our job easier than it could have been. And that's, it's been tough, but it's been much easier because of the way in which the waterwork industry stepped up. I just want to mention some of the general challenges that we face and continue to face. And they seem to be all around the management of data and how we're able to respond to, quickly to questions that come up. So we've made a few changes. One, we've made the P director email address or clearinghouse. So we've been encouraging everyone to either use that email address or to CC that email address when you have questions for the program. And Nicole, who is on the call today, is a whiz at organizing those questions and getting them to the right people, and we get the responses out as quickly as we can. I also want to mention the additional things we've done under our response to COVID. I know you've all seen the increased number of P director emails where we're just trying to get answers out to everyone in a timely fashion. And at one point we were doing the P director every week. It's now back to a bi-weekly. And we've also reclaimed the name of our newsletter, which is In Domain. So the bi-weekly P director email is now again called In Domain. We started weekly meetings with hosted by Mass Waterworks with public water suppliers. We went to bi-weekly and now we're at monthly. And I think those have been very helpful. Out of those meetings, we've created a Q&A document online that's more than 200 questions. And I think that has been very helpful for all of us to have a consistent response to the general questions that have been coming in. We also had to create additional guidance, especially around sample collections, cross-connection inspections, lead in schools, flushing, facility reopenings, safety guidance. We also worked on our sanitary surveys. We created remote survey tools, and we also created, we reissued our self-audit survey form. And this is particularly important because EPA held us to the same number of scheduled surveys that were planned for the year. So even though, with COVID, we lost some time trying to get the safety instructions down and kind of figuring out which systems we really needed to put our eyes on, or natural eyes versus the camera eyes. We were able to, at least as of today, be able to say that for the surveys that were scheduled for the year, we were able to visit them physically or do a remote inspection. And for the TNCs, we've done a number of self-evaluations and assessments with them. And for the others, EPA allowed us to do a contact. And a contact is where we reach out by email to update their records and to make sure that they have information on any new parts of our program, and to give them an opportunity to ask questions of us. So I believe that by December 30th, we will have done the plan for the year. There were a handful of systems that we have to push into next year because we really wanted to put eyes on them, but we weren't able to schedule the surveys because obviously water suppliers had to agree to having us come out to survey. So for those systems, they will be scheduled into next year, and that was part of the plan. On the sanitary surveys, the self-audit parts of it, I really want to give a special thank you to the RCAP and to Mass Rural Water, because they acted as our TA providers to help these TNC systems understand the form and to help them in responding to the questions on the form. So all in all, I think we're in pretty good shape on that primacy commitment. From there, I want to mention training. Training was an area that we had to make significant changes because obviously all training had to be remote. We work very closely with the Board of Certification. Obviously, the chair is part of my staff. So we work very closely with them to make sure that we were following the guidance. And we have successfully done remote training. We had questions pop up throughout the training to make sure that folks were still in attendance. We did LCR training, we did Pfas training. And so far, I think we're doing really well. But we're also about to embark on a relationship with the RCAP, where they're going to help us set up a platform for training on demand. And the first training coming out of that exercise will be on source protection. And then behind that, we have a whole list of trainings coming up. We also have cybersecurity training that we're doing with New England Water Works. And I'm sure you're all aware of the cybersecurity concerns we have right now. We also had a water system in our area that was impacted by a direct attack. So we have been in the works on this cybersecurity training for several years, but it's finally going to happen early in next year. And in a way, putting it off this long allow us to get a lot of additional information into the training. So it's going to work out and come at the right time. What else? I also want to mention that we were able to get the awards done for public water suppliers. And even though we didn't get to go out and have a celebration in the field, we will be posting a pictorial of the winners, the ones that have shared pictures of themselves with their awards or other pictures right before Christmas on our webpage. And, you know, throughout the year, we're going to make it a point to include information on these systems and the great work that they've done in 2019. I'm just checking down my list to see if there's anything that I needed to make sure to mention. I definitely want to mention the PFAS work that we've done, and everyone's been a recipient of that work. I have to admit that in all my years of rolling out various Safe Drinking Water Act regulations, this one has been particularly challenging because one, it wasn't a federal regulation. So that meant we had to create everything from whole cloth. We're doing it in the midst of a pandemic. So some of our schedules, well, all of our schedules had to be pushed back. However, our deadlines remained the same, like the endpoint remained the same, but in the middle, we had to just double up and the work and do it much faster. And water suppliers have been along for the ride with us on this. But going forward, we want to make sure that we're doing one-on-one technical assistance with each water supplier who needs it. So this is going to be a heavy-duty hand-holding regulation rollout. And we are happy to do it because this rule is a little bit more tricky than some of the ones we've seen before. And we want to make sure that everyone gets it right. And we are there to do that work. I want to mention staffing. We, during this process, were able to backfill 5 vacancies, which is great. We didn't get new bodies, but we were able to backfill, which is always a good thing. For the new staff that came on board, it's been a challenge trying to get them up to speed, but we have used our remote tools and we've done a lot of buddy up process with the new staff. And I think that has been successful. Kathy mentioned Ben Joaquin joining us, and he was assigned the TNC program. For the first time, we actually have a statewide coordinator for TNCs, and he jumped right in. He's been working he joined the New England Waterworks Small System Committee. He's been involved with the TNC Self-Audit. He also has GIS experience, so that's been helpful. So we're beginning to get some interesting slices of our data out of the work that he's doing. So I think that's working so far. Let's see. Obviously, we've gotten some additional funding into the program. You know that we had some federal funding for lead in schools. We also had some additional funding for small and disadvantaged community systems. That's $986,000. We've identified 9 projects for it. They haven't started yet, but we are working with our UMass contractors to help those water systems get the information ready so that they can access the grant funds. We've been working with the Clean Water Trust, who received funding from EPA for their Lead in Schools bottled water filling station program. And we are using the additional funds to expand that bottled water filling station program to private schools, because the funding that the Clean Water Trust used before could not be given to private schools. So with the additional funding that came from EPA, that has allowed us to expand the program. And as I mentioned, lead in schools, it's been a real challenge continuing the lead in schools program, because obviously the schools are not they're not using their buildings, or they're in and out of their buildings. So it's been difficult to get participants for the free sampling. And we've come up with some different tools that we've been using, especially as it relates to childcare facilities. So we've been reaching out through local organizations. We came up with a magnet that has the information for the support of fresh water is best, how to check for lead in your drinking water. So that just went out of the building. And we're in the process of identifying the purchase of pitcher filters for a way of encouraging childcare facilities to engage in the sampling program. So we're trying some new things to see how we can make that work better. I will stop here on my remarks and see if you have any questions, and also to ask Kathy if there was anything that I needed to touch on that I didn't touch on.
That sounded pretty comprehensive, Yvette. Sounded good.
Thank you. So any questions on all the things that we are trying to do? I mean, I was in fact thinking about the program, and the end of the year thoughts. And I realized that we actually did everything we normally do and added you know, all of the PFAS work and the additional lead in schools work. And we did all of that in the midst of COVID. And we tried to answer all questions and find tools to make it easier for all of us. So no wonder I'm so tired, and we really try to keep up.
Yvette, Jen had a question. Nicole, do you need to unmute people or can they unmute themselves? You can't, oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I can unmute,
Nicole.
thanks.
Okay.
Thanks for the update, Yvette. I did have a question. You just mentioned pitcher filters. So
Yeah.
I know that's something that's called for in the new rule. What specifically are you going to be doing relative to the pitcher filters?
Well, this would be funded out of the EPA WINS grant for child care facilities. So we would offer a pitcher filter to a home child care facility if they participate in the sampling program. So you participate in the sampling program and you get a pitcher filter. So that would be an incentive to get.
So it doesn't even matter about the result. It's just they're going to get one.
Right. It wouldn't matter about the results. It's an incentive. We want to try it as a pilot. And if it works as a pilot and encourage people to come in to get tested, get their water tested, then we will see how we move on. So we've identified an initial amount of funds, and we want to target an area where the DPH blood lead level program has indicated there is a concern in that area.
Okay. Just one other comment. I appreciate that you recognize that water systems are going to need one-on-one technical assistance with the PFAS. I just want to reinforce that. I am somewhat concerned that the need is going to be much greater than what DEP has available to provide. So but I do think it's absolutely necessary that the water systems get that technical assistance, because this is a very complicated rule, and the public sort of pressure and scrutiny on this is going to be great. And so I think water systems are going to need that assistance. And I do hope that you get your additional staff in this budget to help support that.
And thank you for mentioning that. In this budget, we are hoping to get 6 positions for PFAS, with 5 of them going directly to drinking water, 1 in each region, 1 in the Boston program. And I believe the other one would be going to Office of Research and Standards. I think it's important that the waterworks industry advocate for these positions to be in drinking water, because, you know, this PFAS is an issue across the spectrum. So there are other programs that will be looking to access staff for what their needs are. So, I mean, I'm doing all I can to show the need in drinking water, but so are other programs. So it's important that we keep the drinking water priority on the table. We're also using the UMass contract to help us get started. So they're definitely taking on the work as it relates to the private well part of it, but there is there are certain things that they can do to help us with the QA/QC of the data as it's coming in, and you know, also teaching our staff who will be taking on that part of the program the middle of next year. So you know, we're really trying to be set up for that. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Hi, Yvette. Thank you for your presentation. I have one quick question. Is there money still available for PFAS testing? We won't be testing until April.
Yes, the money is definitely still available for PFAS testing, and it's there until June 30th. We are encouraging public water suppliers to come in and schedule their testing. So I would say apply right now and tell us when you want to test, and this way we can be ready for you. We have 5 labs, actually it's 4 labs now, 4 labs that are in the contract that have been certified. And if we know when you're coming in, we can make sure that everything is set and ready for you when you come in. So I would encourage you to let water suppliers know it's better to come in now. So far, we have 300 public water systems that have applied, and 234 have either been sampled or in the process of being sampled. So tell them to come in. TNCs, everybody, just come in and slot so that we can be ready for you.
Okay.
Also, too, I didn't mention the grants. The second wave of the design grants, the deadline is December 30th. And we encourage everyone, who have an interest to go and apply. I have seen some water systems, even though they don't have their results, they have kind of applied, but with a, when I get the results kind of thing, I think you take your shot in doing that, but I don't think it's a bad idea to kind of stage your plan just in case you need it, because it's going to be pretty tight. Again, those funds are going to run out June 30th unless they're extended. So I would say, please look at the design grant process and see if you can apply.
Okay, are there any other questions for Yvette? Okay, I guess we're going on. Thank you, Yvette. I guess we're going on to annual election for chair and vice chair. I don't see anybody jumping forward.
Neil, do you wish to remain chair?
I can do it. It's not that, yeah.
I don't know that I can make a nomination as an alternate, but if I can, I would nominate Neil to remain as chair.
I'll second that as long as that's really what Neil wants to do.
No, that's fine, Dave. I'm okay, Dave. Thanks.
Okay.
Can someone else, I'm sorry, Jen, you can't make a motion, but
I'll make the motion for Neil Merritt to be chair.
Okay, who said that?
Blake Lucas.
Blake, there you go. Okay, thank you. And seconded by?
Dave Condry.
Dave Condry, thank you. Neil, do you want to take a vote?
Yes, all in favor of myself as chair for the coming year.
Aye.
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 Thank you. Now we have Elizabeth is vice chair.
Oh, same question to you, Elizabeth. Are you willing to continue as vice chair?
It's been a staggering amount of work. I would be happy to relinquish it. I'm also available to continue to serve at your pleasure.
You've done an extraordinary job, Elizabeth.
It's amazing, I know.
I don't have a problem with doing that if Elizabeth wants to step down.
I think a change could be good.
I'll make a motion to nominate Dave Condry as vice chair.
I second that motion.
Thanks, Sean.
All those in favor of Dave Condry as vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. I believe that brings us to the 2021 public meeting schedule.
Yep, I put it on the agenda. We've got dates in March, June, September, and December of next year. And after the beginning of the year, we'll double check to make sure that there aren't other conflicting waterworks events or things going on those dates. But for right now, if you could put those 4 dates on your calendar, that would be great. Thank you for that.
Okay, any public comments?
At this point, those dates work for me, but you know how it is. Something might pop up.
Yep. Thank you. All right, any public comments, any questions or comments from the Waterworks presidents? We appreciate you coming to the meeting. And Lexi Dewey joined us. Lexi is the director of MWRA's Water Supply Citizens Advisory Committee and often joins our calls, so we appreciate that. So any questions from anybody else? No? Oh, Chuck Dam in the comments says, thanks for having us. Anytime, you're welcome to come to any meeting of this committee, of course, but we specifically invite you to the meeting where Yvette gives a drinking water program update.
I agree. Thank you very much for inviting us. It's really nice to hear all of this information firsthand. A lot going on, so much appreciated.
Okay, I guess that's it. Get a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Get a second on that?
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who made the second, please?
Sean.
Sean. Hi, Sean. All right, thanks. Thanks very much.
Well, thank you all for showing up. Stay safe.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy
Yep.
holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good seeing everybody.
Bye.
Bye.